All right. It is Tuesday, May 28th, 2019. Let's take a look at some headlines. All right, guys, this is a little bit weird for me because this headline kind of throws me off a little bit. Scientists have confirmed a new DNA structure inside human cells. Earlier this year, scientists identified the existence of a brand new DNA structure never before seen in living cells. That's right, it's not just a double helix. The discovery of what's described as the twisted knot of DNA in living cells confirms our complex genetic code is crafted with more intricate symmetry than just the double helix structure everybody associates with DNA. Importantly, these forms of molecular variants take effect how our biology functions. When most of us think of DNA, we think of a double helix, said antibody therapeutics researcher Daniel Christ from the Garvan Institute of Medical Research in Australia back in April when the discovery was made. This new research reminds us that totally different DNA structures exist and could be important for ourselves. The DNA component the team identified is called the intricated motif, the eye motif structure, which was first discovered by researchers in the 1990s, but up until now has only ever been witnessed in vitro, not in living cells. Thanks to Christ's team, we know that the eye motif occurs naturally in human cells, meaning the structure significance to cell biology, which has previously been called into question, given it had only been demonstrated in the lab, demands new attention from researchers. Alright, guys, so let's take a look at this picture here of this DNA structure. Just looking at it, it looks like somebody tried to craft DNA in a lab, and that's the result of it. Like, that's the best they could do of a shoddy, DNA job. And that's what I feel it is. I think it is just, scientists messing with DNA, and that's what they came up with. Um, to be 100% serious, when I first heard about it, I was browsing through the Mandela Effect uh, tab on YouTube, just searching for information, and this was one of the Mandela effects, supposedly that there's new DNA structures. But if it is real, if it happens in nature, that would be something amazing. But I still feel that it just could be shaped in a lab. So let's keep reading here. It says if your only familiarity with DNA shapes is the dual helix spirals made famous by Watson and Crick, the confirmation of the intricated motif could come as a surprise. The eye motif in a four-stranded knot of DNA, explained genomist Marcel Digner, who co-led the search in the knot structure. C letters of the same strand of DNA bind to each other, so it's very different from a double helix. Where letters on opposing brands recognize each other, the C binds to G guanines, according to Gervans Mahdi Sarati, the first author of the new study. The I motif is the only one of the number DNA structures that don't take the double helix form, including a DNA, zDNA, triple X DNA, and cruciform DNA, and which could also exist in our cells. Another kind of DNA structure called the G quadruplex DNA was first visualized by researchers in human cells in 2013, who made use of an engineered antibody to reveal the G4 within cells. In the April study, Zarati and fellow researchers employed the same kind of technique, developing an antibody fragment called IMAB that could specifically recognize and bind to eye motifs. In doing so, it highlighted their location in the cell with an immunofluorescent glow. What excited us most is that we could see the green spots, the eye motifs appearing and disappearing over time, so we know they are forming, dissolving, and forming again. While there is still a lot to learn about the eye motif structure functions, the findings indicate the transient eye motifs generally form late in the cell's life cycle. So I still think that this is modified and genetically engineered, but it is some weird news, to come across that there's new DNA structure inside cells. Alright, guys, next. Tornadoes leave trail of destruction across Ohio and Indiana. A rapid fire line of apparent tornadoes tore across Indiana and Ohio overnight, packed so closely together the one crossed the path carved by another. Monday morning, officials reported one death in Mercer County, Ohio, where a tornado hit the city of Salina. One of 52 tornadoes that may have touched down on Monday across 8 states as waves of severe weather swept across the nation midsection. A tally of storm reports posted online by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Storm Prediction Center shows that 14 suspected tornadoes touched down in Indiana, 10 in Colorado, and 9 in Ohio. 6 suspected tornadoes were reported in Iowa, 5 in Nebraska, 4 in Illinois, 3 in Minnesota, while 1 suspected tornado was reported in Idaho in the west. At least half a dozen communities from eastern Indiana through central Ohio suffered damage, according to the National Weather Service. The storm damaged homes, blew out windows, toppled trees, and left debris so thick at one point highway crews had to use snowplows to clear an interstate. Some of the heaviest hits were recorded in towns just outside Dayton, Ohio, where officials were still assessing damage as of 8:45 a.m. Alright, guys, so if you live in these areas, please, also if you don't live in these areas, but please pray for the people going through these tornadoes, damages. I've been looking at Twitter with my news and weather information, and there's been so much destruction happening, so please pray for these people. Alright, next. A 2,600-year-old military castle uncovered in Egypt. An Egyptian archaeological mission has unearthed an ancient remains of 2,600-year-old military castle, meaning it dates back nearly 3 millennia. The castle was found in the north of Sinai province, Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities said in a Facebook post. The government agency said they were able to find the northeast corner tower and the remnants of the southeast corner tower, as well as the extensions of the south wall. The castle was dated to the Pisimatic era, which ran from 664 to 610 BC. So far, the excavation works are completed to discover the remains of architectural installations inside the castle. The Ministry of Antiquities wrote in the post, "This is the historic castle that the mission revealed in the Eastern Wall in 2008 and was built on the ruins of the castle. Of this castle, another castle has been previously revealed on this site." So they discovered a new castle in Egypt. That is pretty cool. I hope to see any discoveries. To hope they make documentaries on this, because if any discoveries come out, I want to see it. Alright, next. Oregon college student taking pictures dies after falling off side of mountain. Her fall was broken by a tree, which prevented her from falling into the ocean below, and she later succumbed to her serious injuries. An Oregon college student died after falling a 100-foot fall off the side of a mountain while taking pictures over a barrier, according to sheriff's deputies. Oregon State University student Michelle Casey, 21, was a viewpoint area of Nikani Mountain on Highway 101 with her boyfriend Sunday when she slipped and fell while taking pictures over a railing wall. According to a statement from the Tillamook County Sheriff's Office, her 100-foot fall was broken by a tree, which prevented her from falling into the ocean below. The statement said Casey suffered serious injuries and was airlifted to Emmanuel Hospital in Portland, where she later died. Her family stated in a statement Casey loved being outdoors and was at the beach, her favorite place on Sunday. They said she was always active and had a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo, played volleyball, and loved to work out. Casey was an organ donor, and her organs were donated to 2 people, the family said. Michelle always brought people together with her bubbly personality, a loving and giving heart. The statement said she was a sophomore and pursuing a degree in kinesiology because she wanted to help people. An Oregon State University's statement said, "As a university community, we mourn for the loss of a community member, and certainly one so young as Michelle. At least 3 people have died from falls at the Grand Canyon this year. At least one of those people was trying to take photos. Last year, a couple fell about 800 feet to their deaths while apparently taking a selfie at Yosemite National Park in California. It is always important to remember when going to locations not to cross barriers when you see a barrier up, not to get too close to the edge because it is really dangerous. There was a guy who I made a video about who just recently was at a volcano and he crossed the barrier line of the volcano and he fell, but he didn't fall all the way in. He was rescued, thankfully. So if you ever get close to the border of any dangerous location, please think about it and don't cross that line. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hit like and subscribe for more. And see you guys next time. God bless.